a lot of people have been calling for John Harbaugh's job, have been calling for Zachary Orr to be removed from his duties as Ravens defensive coordinator.
Fired.
But I think there's one person still out there that is still in the defense of the Ravens and this organization, the coaching staff, specifically John Harbaugh, and kind of saying, hey, pump the brakes. And I think this is good context, but it's probably not going to go over well with a lot of angry Ravens fans. So Marcus Spears, Brad.
Yes.
On ESPN, former NFL player, had a 1 year, I believe, in Baltimore as well.
Yep.
But do I have the tweet in here? I do. Brad, can you pull that up? Marcus Spears tweeted this out during the game. I found it right here. Whammy.
Oh. Yeah.
And he was going back and forth with some fans on X. And for those that are listening on Spotify and Apple, the tweet says, I got you, no doubt. They were flawed, meaning the Ravens. But y'all act like this man talking about John Harbaugh loses a lot. If y'all do let him go, I hope the next one comes in and wins the championship that year because that's all that's left. Y'all competing for championships every year for real. Y'all got rich folks problems. So Marcus has been in defense of John Harbaugh and the coaching staff for a long period of time. I would like to say myself, I feel the same way about how John Harbaugh has gone about and given the Ravens an opportunity. And everyone wants to say Lamar saved his job, which back in 2018, yeah, like Lamar and them going on the run, that was a big reason probably why John Harbaugh was staying in Baltimore, because there was reports that was going to be it. And then it wasn't. Then the Ravens have been one of the best teams still over the last 7 years.
Yeah.
And Brad, we discussed this a little bit on the phone this morning or this afternoon. You know, there is truth to what Marcus is saying, that if you are a Ravens fan, you're so mad right now because it's so unrecognizable. What's been so unrecognizable, the Ravens, this is their worst start in franchise history.
Well, yes, tied for the worst.
And meaning the Ravens have been around for 30 years. They had the highest winning percentage in NFL history.
Yeah.
They've been competing, whether they've won it or not, obviously, but they have been competing each and every year. And I think that was the part that Marcus was saying more of. And, you know, I agree. I don't think any move right now of taking John Harbaugh out of Baltimore, nor should you. He deserves more respect with that. But do the Ravens have to change something?
Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah.
Like, something's got to give. And I feel bad for Zach Orr, because I do think long-term Zach Orr can have the makings of a really good coach. But for what's happened,
yeah, look,
there's a lot of problems.
John Harbaugh is 173 to 108 losses. I just don't know who you replace him with. I just don't know. Even if, let's just say the Ravens don't make the playoffs this season. If John does get let go, I just don't know who comes in his place, as Marcus Spears pointed out, to come in and actually win them a championship the next season.
First-year head coach.
First-year head coach.
If
right.
you do that.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand how you can replace John, especially with all the knowledge, all the records, and everything else that he's done up to this point. To me, this isn't a similar situation that happened in New England. This is just, you had a regime change on the defensive side of the ball. That's the change that needs to be made first and foremost. I'm not even upset about what's going on with the offense, because there has been a lot of injuries, and now you don't have Ronnie Stanley back there, so the run game has been a little bit off. The biggest issue with the team right now is defense, period.
Yeah.
Period. If you fix the defense and the offense isn't absolutely perfect, you can live with that. I don't think that, and I don't think that's a John Harbaugh issue. I think John Harbaugh needs to take care of business in-house, and that means, you know, doing something about the defensive coordinator. And I said this last week, that Zach Orr is just not that guy right now. He might be later on. Right now, he's not with this squad. It isn't going to happen. And so, but I still stand by the fact that John Harbaugh should be the head coach. I don't think he deserves to lose his job, whether or not the team misses the playoffs this season, because of how much winning he's done.
It's a lot of winning. And I know a lot of people could say, well, Lamar is the reason why John's keeping his job. But here's
what are you going to say?
But to your point though, to saying about the winning part, and everyone still wants to jump to the 49ers, which they did just beat the Rams with Mac Jones down a ton of guys. I do want to point out through all this, the 49ers were really banged up last year, and they just missed the playoffs, period. And Lamar, when great players create and can mask a lot of deficiencies with teams. They always can. I mean, heck, do the Patriots have the run that they have? If Belichick is a very good coach, but you also have seen Belichick not have success before Tom Brady, but Tom Brady is considered the greatest quarterback of all time. So the combination of a very good coach with a very clutch player that's going to help you win, those things do matter. And the Ravens, you mentioned the Tyler Huntley push jump, whatever that was.
Insanity.
If that doesn't happen, the Ravens with a backup quarterback more than likely go into Cincinnati and beat one of the best offenses in the league and Joe Burrow right then and there.
Yes.
They had a chance. Last year in the playoffs, the Ravens in Buffalo, you turned the ball over. You had a chance. AFC Championship game, you can say it's the gameplay. Ravens also turned the ball over. You had chances, but compared to other teams, these are the Super Bowl winning teams over the last few years. Kansas City, which no one has dethroned them. That's not just even a John Harbaugh problem. The Bills are great. They haven't dethroned them.
Right.
In the AFC. Philadelphia Eagles. They look like a pretty damn good organization and pretty damn good team. Nick Sirianni gets a lot of shit. He's a great head coach. You can say what you want. They have turnover all the time. Great roster, great team.
Yeah.
So the outliers since the Ravens have won the Super Bowl, this is it. The Broncos won it 1 year on defense. The Rams won it on Matthew Stafford and kind of a little bit. They made some plays. Aaron Donald's a beast. The Chiefs have won multiple. The Eagles have won multiple Super Bowls.
That's basically been it since 2018.
So who am I missing here? Tom Brady and the Bucks.
Yeah.
And the Patriots. So Tom Brady twice.
Yeah.
Since the Ravens last won a Super Bowl, the Seahawks 1 year.
Right.
So we're talking about a handful of teams. I think that's to your point and to Marcus Spears' point that it is very hard to win in the NFL. And I think people want John Harbaugh to be, if you're an excellent head coach, well, we should have won already. But Zach, on the other side of it, why people are frustrated is with the team that the Ravens have had, that they haven't gotten back to the Super Bowl. And I think people can argue since Lamar took over, these Ravens teams, there's probably 2 or 3 that were better than the Ravens teams that
without a doubt
that went on their runs. And hey, if you're liking this video, let me just tell you, this channel has a lot more to offer. From behind the scenes content, sports betting, and unfiltered takes, you should join our channel memberships. And if you want to unlock exclusive content, private live streams for real-time breakdowns, and we're going to have a sports betting newsletter from yours truly and the rest of the gang here at the Ryan Ripken Show. And on top of that, custom emojis, badges, shout-outs, and straight access to our inner circle. So be a good kid and hit that join button below. All right, now back to the video.
I mean, 2023 was the year. That was the year that the Ravens should have won the Super Bowl. Everything went well. Obviously, Mike McDonald as your defensive coordinator. The offense was humming. The defense won the Triple Crown. You fumble the ball at the goal line against the Chiefs, and that does it. But at the same time, I understand why people say the quote unquote Lamar saved Harbaugh, because after the Super Bowl from 2013 to 2017, the Ravens missed the playoffs 4 out of 5 years. They were very much on that pace to finish back end of the AFC North before Lamar took over, won 6 of 7 games and got them into that playoff. I think the biggest thing is it's whether or not he is quote unquote lost the locker room and whether the message is still the same. I think John Harbaugh is an excellent coach. I think he's one of the best, top 5 easily in the NFL. If he gets fired, if they move on from him, he'll be coaching next year for some team. But at the same time, I do understand why when you look at it and you say, okay, the Ravens have had 3 playoff wins since 2014. There needs to be at some point a standard of, hey, some things just aren't working. And I think right now the biggest thing is someone out there, is there a new voice? I think the obvious one was, and I think one day they may even admit it themselves, was Mike Macdonald was moving Harbaugh to an executive role and having Mike Mack step up. Was that probably the move? Yeah, it probably was in hindsight, but you stick with John Harbaugh, who's a proven winner. This season obviously is not going well, but I think unless there is a drastic change, if this feeling around the Baltimore Ravens stays, meaning they're not competing, it's uncompetitive. We keep talking about, they're playing all these, really good teams. So right now you have that excuse, but let's say they come out and lay a goose egg with Lamar against the Bears, against the struggling Dolphins, who at that point may have fired their head coach. Like if you start continuing to be people's tune-up games, I think, and I said this on Kevin and Zach React, I've said this here, I've said this anytime I've been asked over the past few days, week at this point, I think Zach Orr's fired after this Sunday. I think this is unfortunately for him, it's a timing thing. He would have been fired this week or last week, but with the bye coming up after next week, I think they're going to give, whether it's Chuck Pagano, whether it's whoever it is calling plays, I think they're going to give them the bye week to kind of get ready, put some stuff in, change a thing here or there. So I think Zach Orr is the first one gone, and I think then you go from there. If nothing changes past then, if the team is still uncompetitive, if you feel like there's just even more disconnect between the players and coaches, if there's stuff like that, I think it's time where it's not even a, hey, John, we think you're, not a good coach or something like that. It's the messaging. It's sometimes you look at Andy Reid, left Philly, and it worked out for both of them because his time in Philly had just kind of come to an end. Bill Belichick's a different situation because that's been just weird as hell ever since he left New England. But I think sometimes you have to understand and get to the point where it's like, yeah, John Harbaugh is a great coach, but if this team is losing kind of the connection between coaching staff and players, and there's just something that needs to change there, that's going to be where I think John Harbaugh, they move on from him, because especially if they miss the playoffs, something's got to change culture-wise.
I don't know. I mean, like for me, I look back at the year that the Ravens won the Super Bowl with John Harbaugh. He let go Marty Morningwig. Was it Marty Morningwig? No. Cam
Cameron, and then they brought in
that season.
And then it was Cam Cameron and Jim Caldwell took over.
Right.
Yeah.
So my thing is that this isn't unprecedented where the Ravens are right now, and in the John Harbaugh era. I think that you take, for example, we talked to Ed Reed about this off camera during the Super Bowl about how they felt about John Harbaugh when he first came into the locker room, and how he switched things up and how players felt about him then, but they somehow were still able to find ways to win. So I understand what Zach's saying. I just don't know if the leadership in the organization of the Ravens actually believe that. But I do think that there is some things that need to be changed, and it starts at that defensive coordinator.
Oh, it's going to start with Zach Orr. It's whether or not afterwards. That's why if they fire Zach Orr and things turn around, I think it saves Harbaugh. But if you fire Zach Orr and nothing changes yet, I think then, and I've said this before, Ravens will never make a head coaching change in the middle of the season. That's not how they roll. That's not anything that they've ever done.
Most teams don't.
Yeah, but I could see especially if they miss the playoffs, I would put it at 90% chance we see someone else there.
I still believe in Harbaugh as a head coach, and I still am probably in the minority of people that still feel that way. But even if it is the end of the road, hypothetically it doesn't go well, nothing will go from this season or during the season. Everything would be afterwards. And the bigger part here is, and this is the reality with sports, there are 12 games left. And at 1-5, if the Ravens were to lose to the Rams, which right now, if it's the same as last week, then there's going to be no shot, because the Rams, arguably, they're a Super Bowl contender in the NFC. And actually, I was looking at most playoff wins since 2014. And the Rams are on that list with 8. That's tied for 4th best since 2014. Sean McVay is an excellent coach.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford, arm talent. He is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. That offense is really good. Really, really good. It's going to be a challenge for the Ravens. But if you get who you need to get healthy after the bye, could the Ravens go on a run? And would it take a lot? Realistically, they would have to go nine. In my opinion, if they want to get to 10 wins and they're 1-5, that means they got to go 9-2 after their bye. Could they do that? Absolutely. But is there a small margin for error because you're going to have some games like last night, even with the Bills and Patriots? Credit to the Pats. Bills had some ugly turnovers. Ugly turnovers. You can't afford a game like that in the second half of the season for Baltimore.
Ugly turnovers and a shit ton of penalties.
Oh my goodness, that was woof from the start. No one likes making it a ref fest, and it was a little bit of a ref fest yesterday. But for the Baltimore Ravens to put a bow on this conversation, it's a proud organization, it's a proud fan base, and we have been exposed to really nothing but greatness and winning. I mean, the down years for the Baltimore Ravens have consisted of Lamar Jackson got hurt and the Ravens then missed the playoffs. That's recency bias. Or the down years the Ravens had after they won their second Super Bowl. And then before that, you're going to have to go back to 2007 when the Ravens were unbelievable in 2006. And then Billick gets fired after the 07 season, and then you insert Harbaugh. So, like, we're talking about only a handful of years over the last 3 decades.
Right.
And a lot of teams can't say that. There's only a few teams I think can put themselves in that category. The Ravens, the Packers, and then with the Patriots run with Tom Brady and Belichick, like those are the 3 teams for that long they were that good.